And we're ready.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of Hamilton City Council, December 3rd, 2025. We're here in City Council chambers at 345 High Street in Hamilton. We do have one public hearing this evening. It involves our 2026 city budget. Roll call, please.
Moeller.
Present.
Pullman.
Present.
Fear.
Present.
Vaughn.
Present.
Ryan.
Present.
Nab.
Present.
Lauer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to start off with offering of prayer. Councilmember Michael Ryan, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you're able.
Lord, let us live each day in the most loving ways, the God-conscious ways. Let us serve all who are in need, regardless of race, color, or creed. And Lord, please continue to guide our city council, and our management teams. Please continue to protect our police and our firefighters and keep them out of harm's way. And please continue to bless our city, our state, and our country, the United States of America. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started with the rest of the agenda, I'd like to have a moment of silence for a member of the city family, a Hamiltonian, Jody Gunderson. Thank you. Okay, we go to special presentations. I believe we have Alan Messer up first. Is that correct, Mr. City Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. So this is probably one of the most transformative things that I think I have brought before you in the last 10 years. We all know the issue, train noise. It's very robust in Hamilton. I did the calculation of our 24 at-grade crossings, and you consider that each time a train crosses or comes across a crossing, it honks the horn 4 times. And the number of trains that come through Hamilton, that equates to over 1,800 times a day within the city of Hamilton that a train horn is sounded. What that leads to is sleep disturbance, cardiovascular issues, actually very significant ones, cognitive and learning impairments, mental health effects, hearing impairment, decreased property values. I'll say when I was looking for a house here recently, we're way over on the west side of town, over a mile from the tracks, from this quiet zone that we're talking about. And we heard a train as we were outside, and the realtor's like, no, you got to remember, there's going to be train noise. You know, this is something you're going to have to consider if you buy this house. So imagine that multiplied by all of the properties across Hamilton that are affected by this amount of noise, and then just the quality of life. I think about when I go home and I sit in my lazy boy chair. If I was right here, especially along the tracks, I wouldn't be able to get any peace if I kicked back and about every 10, 15 minutes throughout the day, especially this section here that we're talking about. So the solution is a quiet zone, or I call it a quieter zone, because this will not totally eliminate the train noise. You'll still have the engines, the squealing as they go around the turns, and the conductors are still able and should be sounding the horn if there's something in the way. This just eliminates the requirement that they do that the 4 times at every single crossing. And the purpose obviously is to mitigate the train noise. We look for a balance between safety and the impacts of that reduced noise pollution. There have already been 700 established across the country, including a number in Ohio. The most local and most recent are Glendale and Loveland. I reached out to both of those communities, and they were both extremely satisfied with the results of their quiet zones. How you establish it is you have minimum requirements. It's got to be the safety aspect of it. We'll talk about what we're doing to improve the safety. The improvements you make have to offset the loss of the safety of the trains no longer sounding their horn. And it also, this corridor has to be below the national average for risk factors. Each gate has to have lights, or each crossing has to have lights and gates. It has to have what's called constant warning time, which is like a newer feature to the gates, that it essentially sounds the same at each crossing. So if you have a train that's coming at 40 miles an hour, you don't get a shorter period of time as opposed to one that's approaching at 10 miles an hour. And then a power out indicator so that the railroad essentially knows something's lost power. It has to be at least a half mile in length and a quarter mile, no more than, or no less than a quarter mile separation between the end of the quiet zone and the next crossing. Well, that will affect like where we select where we can stop a quiet zone. All of these things go into what that risk level is that I mentioned, the national average and the comparison of the post-quiet zone to the pre-quiet zone. Number of crashes. So each one's different. Depends on volumes, crashes, number of tracks, and what's there at the crossing. There are a number of ways you can mitigate for the loss of the train or horn notification. One of them is a 4-quadrant gate. You can do medians, which we're proposing a lot of these, and crossing closures is the most foolproof. Those are considered like the standard, and then the alternative are basically shorter medians or other forms of safety improvement. This is the area we're talking about, and that first slide I showed a 1.5 mile radius around that, so the area that's affected by just this quiet zone. We have 7 crossings: Heaton, Dayton, Butler, Maple, Ludlow, Walnut, and Hanover. If you recall, we did a quiet zone study back in 2018, and that didn't proceed because it was deemed at the time cost prohibitive. We've basically renewed that today and focused on the area that's, we'll say, a good, I don't want to call it pilot, but an initial area to try a quiet zone, see if we see the same success that other communities have seen, and then we can look to build on that if you so choose. These are the crossings, and part of why these were selected is if you look there on the right column, if it says yes, that means it already has those constant warning times and the gates and power out indicators. If it doesn't, it's essentially $1 million plus to bring it up to current standards, and the city would have to bear that cost. So we're looking for crossings that already have it, of which unfortunately of our 24 crossings, there's only 5 within the city, and 3 of them are on this zone. This is also the most heavily traveled sections of tracks. So of those 1,800, over 900 of the horns would be eliminated with this quiet zone. Heaton Street is the first of them. We're proposing medians here. It's fairly benign, but you see the one on the right to the east is shorter than the minimum 60-foot length. So we don't get full credit for that. So we have to go to basically a lengthier process. If we were able to get full credit for every crossing, it would be approved essentially in 60 days. But because of the close proximity of intersecting streets, a lot of these, that's an impossibility. So we're looking at a 2 to 3 year approval. Here's Dayton Street again. We can't even get a median on the east side. We have a full-length median on the west side. This one I want to talk about. This is not a requirement, but this is my proposal. This is Maple. We don't get credit for this. To me, it doesn't seem appropriate for people coming out on Witt Way to be able to inadvertently turn and cross the tracks because they basically wouldn't be stopped by the gate. So the best way to mitigate that would be to make Witt Way one way and make it a right turn only, so that people can't accidentally come out. If you think the gate's going down, there's not any sound from the horns. Somebody potentially could say that they didn't realize that a train was coming, and this is what we would do to mitigate that. On the east side of the tracks, we're able to get the full median width. This Walnut Street, fairly standard here. We put in the medians. I do want to back up, and there on the right, that's when I say medians, that's what we're talking about. Just a concrete curb running down the middle of the street. The bollards that you see are not a requirement, but they're something that we think would be, they're fairly low cost and prudent, and it makes it easier for our public works guys when they're plowing to see what's, that something's there so that they don't hit them. Hanover again is medians, a shorter one on the west. And then this is the big part of the discussion. We've committed to, as a city, closing Butler Street already as part of the hotel development. And we've talked about it with North Hamilton Crossing. We actually talked about it back when we were doing South Hamilton Crossing, closing Butler. So that one, as far as I'm concerned, it's been discussed thoroughly. Ludlow Street, I'm proposing to close because in order to keep Ludlow open, it would be $1.5 million because it's an exceptionally expensive crossing to bring up to current standards because it's right there where the track or where there's a switch in the tracks. And it's also less than 400 feet from Walnut, so you think about the impact of closing Ludlow when you have another at-grade crossing less than 400 feet away is fairly benign. We did have our traffic consultant look at what happens when you close Butler and Ludlow, and the impacts on the flow of traffic are essentially negligible, partly because they're so close together, Butler with Dayton and with the underpass, and Ludlow with Maple. This is what it would cost for this section, these 7 crossings, $3 to $4.5 million. The difference being if we chose not to pursue Ludlow, we'd have to do essentially 4 quadrant gates, bring it up, spend $1.5 million to keep that open. If we don't, we're down to the $3 million range. I think I'm conservative in these numbers, and it would be hopefully less than that. The other downside is that loss of connectivity, which isn't major because the intersections are so close together, the crossings. The benefits are immense. As part of North Hamilton Crossing, we were once considered a quiet zone. That one was just from Maple to Heaton, and they did a calculation, the cardiovascular, like the reduction in heart attacks for people within the area affected by that over a 30-year time frame equated to $41 million if you factor in unfortunate deaths and then people that are impacted and the medical cost associated with the increased risk of heart attack if you're subjected to that constant high noise level. Property values we didn't calculate, but they're significant. I've read factors that you could see a 10% increase in property values as an average within the area. And then the quality of life, I think, is difficult to quantify, but certainly one that everyone would agree is significant. I went through that very quickly, but I would like to open it now to any questions. I'll cover the schedule here. We did a diagnostic meeting with the Federal Rail Association and the railroads back in March. The study was completed in August, and we're targeting submitting what's basically the application for this in early '26. The 2 to 3 years would include the actual construction. That would be the review, approval of all the improvements, approval by Federal Rail Administration, and then the actual acceptance of it, and that's when things would go quieter. And then every 3 years, you have to go out and check that everything's still appropriate and that it's appropriate to continue that quiet zone. And with that, I'll open it to questions.
Yes. Boom.
Alan, first of all, we'll get a copy of this, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Great work on this. The 2 crossings for Ludlow and Butler. I know Butler doesn't affect any businesses, but Ludlow, we don't have anything over there it would affect, right? A business.
I mean, there's a couple businesses to the east. I don't know that they'd be greatly affected because Walnut's so close by.
The road that goes when you cross Ludlow, there's a road that runs by the old tire place there. Does that connect over to Maple, or does that connect over to the next street? Or is that an alley it connects?
Let's go back to, there's the Ludlow crossing. Are you talking about the,
You cross Ludlow going over to would be going to the east, crossing west to east on there. As soon as you cross, there's a street along that building right there. What does that go back to? It goes back toward Maple, but I don't think that hooks to
It
Maple.
goes back around to 7th Street.
It goes back to 7th Street is where it is. Caldwell. Okay.
but yeah, I mean, you look here, 5th Street's right there. Your next crossing up is
And we wouldn't have any problem with the railroad closing that down, would we?
closing down.
Ludlow?
I think they would be thrilled to see the closure, and I think it is almost necessary in order to get this passed, because we do, like I mentioned, we're doing some alternative measures. That means FRA has to approve it. It's not an automatic. If we had the full width at every crossing, or we could choose to, say, for example, Ludlow, you could choose to spend $1.5 million to keep it open with the 4-quadrant gates and the updated signals. From my perspective, if we had $1.5 million to spend somewhere, I could think of a couple dozen better uses for it that would improve traffic more than keeping it.
We're not going to get help from the railroad with that money, are we?
We we'll get $30,000 per crossing, and Ohio Rail Development Commission would match that with another 30. So it's something, 60,000 per, I mean, it's,
When it comes to that. Okay,
No.
great. Thank you. Thanks for the report.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
Alan, thank you so much. I had the opportunity to walk all those intersections with Alan, CSX, the FRA, and we had some rail consultants too. So it's very interesting to see this, but it's more, it was very beneficial to see the benefits of this, and Alan listed that. I understand there are grant opportunities and other additional federal funds that we can take advantage of. Is that?
we have explored that. It doesn't sound like there's many good options there.
Okay. I know it sounds expensive, but the bigger picture is that the quiet zone is a quality of life investment for some of our most underserved neighborhoods. And I really commend City Council for continuing to push that narrative. You know, here we are, with 17 strong and doing all these events. This initiative, if we can get it done, will lift that quality of life for Riverview, Jefferson, North End, and Dayton Lane. And I think it's really important that we try to focus on this. It would just complement everything that we are already doing. And I know it's a priority for us to lift up our underserved neighborhoods and those that we are still trying to clean up and enhance. So, but also want to mention This initiative is also critical in the redevelopment of the Dual Hiltons and Beckett Paper. So this is really going to cover a lot of bases that we are really focusing on. So I hope to see this come to fruition, and I definitely support it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Lauer.
I also am excited about this opportunity, and I hope that it does go through. We must continue to work in some of our fragile neighborhoods as they're densely populated, and many students are served and affected by any and every physical barrier that they have to go up against. There's some challenges, and if we can eliminate those, I think it's good for our kids. I think it's good for our elderly. I'm very much so behind this, and it's just a continuation of us working and improving in our fragile neighborhoods that need some improvements. And I'm very happy to support this. I do have a question on the Ludlow, and I think that has to be looked into. I would like to look into it a little further as far as we're putting in new housing there, and I know it's probably cost effective, but the connectivity to the new housing in Ludlow and the Jefferson neighborhood. However, I also know that we can utilize that money in some of our neighborhoods to find other ways to better them. So, but I would like to possibly look at that.
Sure, I'd be happy to sit down. It's easier to see like interactively on a map, and
Looking forward to it.
Anyone else? You know, Alan, when you say these three categories, health, property value, and quality of life, that's a lot of goals and positives, you know, for this project. And you've really looked into this very well, and I'm really impressed by what you've come up with. Great not to hear all the horns all the time. I said thank you, Alan. Any other comments at all? Yes, sir. Thank you. Cool. All right. I'm going to call this next section of the meeting Thanksgiving Thanks. As we did last year, we recognized. Is that on? We recognized 3 different special events, but there was a lot of crossover amongst people and goals as well. So, in chronological order, it was Hamilton Turkey Drop, and Hamilton Turkey Trot. So we're going to try and bring all of you up here at the same time, if that's possible, and if not, we'll figure it out when we get people up here. If you're involved with Hamilton Turkey, come on up here.
Yeah.
And while they're coming up here, take a look at the stats that are up there as far as the meals served, people taken care of. Might be back row, Hamilton Turkey.
Look at Tyler grab that mic.
Bring it around. Bring it around. Well, you folks did bring everybody.
There's like a third of us.
Bring it around.
What's up, Brownie?
This might work. Okay, if we have the folks from Turkey Drop come up here and form the row in front of this row. Well, we got some. Okay. That's cool. Why don't you folks there at least kind of get in front here if we can do that? Otherwise, you're hanging all the side, man. You're going to drop off the photo. So right now we got Hamilton Turkey and Turkey Drop. What we're missing is Turkey Trot. Everybody's going to be able to get up here.
See this on
Getting secondhand claustrophobia.
That's called.
We are.
Last year.
What's that?
You did not beat us.
He's talking smack.
Don't
listen to Tommy. You're
My
welcome.
daughter carried us.
Okay, let's start off with Hamel Turkey, and I'd like to have a person or two talk about Hamel Turkey 2025. Tyler?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So this was year 3. You know, year 1 we fed 700. Last year about 5,000, and this year we did a total of 7,648 approximately. Could have very well been more. But what I love about it is, I mean, there's a lot of numbers on the screen about that. But if you look at the people here, like this is maybe a third of what it took to make this happen. Like you got to get a lot of people involved, a lot of volunteers. Between the distributions and the buffets, there was about 30 different people volunteering each time. So it was a really cool way to kind of get the whole community engaged and fed a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of different neighborhoods as well. So it was widespread and it was a lot of fun. So I think each year's kind of evolved a little bit. And you know, each person back here represents a different organization that do a lot of really great things in the neighborhood, or the city, I mean, and it's just pretty cool. You know, and it keeps growing, and we'll see where it goes next year. And a lot of great partners. I always got to shout out to Shared Harvest. I mean, that was really a big partner we got last year. Kind of really, they donated 1,000 turkeys last year, 1,400 this year. Like it's massive, and you know, we know that especially this year with the SNAP benefits, a lot of things impacted the community. So it was probably more important than ever, and even more people showed up to help out. So it's very heartwarming. It was really cool. So yeah, it's awesome.
But I just want to add, we need to give a big shout out. We need to give a big shout out to Tyler because he is the total mastermind behind this and is absolutely amazing bringing everybody together. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
He has definitely shown that. Now, who do you think should talk next about? Put a stopwatch on this guy, would you?
No, I just have, I'll be brief, Mayor, but I just want to echo Casey's sentiments and say this is what happens when someone's passionate about something. Tyler is extremely passionate about food insecurity and helping other people. And I think any and every resident is capable of putting together something like Hamel Turkey because Tyler just came to a group of people with an idea and said, let's feed people at Thanksgiving who need extra food. And now we're in year 3 feeding almost 8,000 people, and that's because of Tyler's vision. So thank you.
How about, Terry, you want to talk about Shared Harvest and how this benefited Shared Harvest and how you folks worked together on this?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. I do want to just echo the fact that this was preceded by the longest government shutdown in our history. And so it was very timely that we were able to pull together this initiative. We had many people who did not pre-register for this event just show up, and we were able to make a way to address that. But from a Shared Harvest Food Bank perspective, we have 11 food pantries in the city of Hamilton alone that we support throughout the year. And so please keep that in mind. It's not just a one-day event. Hunger is year-round.
All right, can you do one thing for me, Daniel? Can you go back to the photos from the very last? Okay, go to the next one. Go one more. Go, no. Other way. One more. Okay. Got the one right there. Now, Tyler, is that you up there dressed like a cowboy riding a turkey?
It sure is.
That's what I thought.
I almost wore it tonight, but I thought it was be a little classier tonight with the suit coat. So, yeah, so the shirt, same shirt, but you know,
same shirt.
Left the pet at home.
How about a round of applause for Hamel Turkey 2025?
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, Turkey Drop 2025.
Not sure where to start with this one because it kind of started with Jim and I sitting at the bar drinking one night a couple of years ago, trying to figure out how we could increase some foot traffic for the businesses on the night before Thanksgiving while also giving back to the community. It seems to be ongoing conversations that we have, especially in the Markham corridor every year. So Hamel Turkey Drop, what we love about it the most besides the pure shenanigans, if you haven't been, it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. But it gets bigger and bigger every year. So we sold 500 ducks this year, and at $10 a piece, minus the winnings to our grand prize and our couple of our side winners, we raised $4,300. for the Open Door Food Pantry this year. And in terms of numbers, that anywhere from $1 to $2 feeds a family of 4. So $4,300 to the food pantry is a huge amount of money. And again, we just seem to do more and more each year as people catch on to what we're doing, as they really just enjoy the fun of it all. I'm sorry that none of us wore blow-up turkeys, but we're taking that as a challenge, Tyler. This year, the Hamilton Fire Department showed they are the big reason why this is also as big as it is. When you dump 500 turkeys out of the bucket of a truck, it is a sight to behold. And they actually sent a couple of houses worth of personnel this year, as opposed to last year where they just send the house with the truck, because they get into it and they love it, and they love being part of something that gives back to the community. So. From Casual Pint to Municipal Brew Works to Poorhouse to Tano's, it's something that I think we collectively, we love doing every day, and we love putting those smiles on people's faces.
I don't have much to add. A couple extra thanks out there, not only the fire department, but also to Chatterbox Sports. We actually got to play. So for folks that are not familiar with this was all based upon the 1978 WKRP in Cincinnati episode where a radio promotion went wrong because they were dropping turkeys out of the back of a helicopter, not realizing that turkeys don't fly. So as they were bouncing and hitting the ground like wet bags of cement, which was one of the quotes, Chatterbox Sports brought the big giant TV, so we got to play about a 6-minute clip of the original 1978 episode, which ends with, "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly," which is also another iconic line. But it was very cold. It was very windy. We still had over 300 people attend. It was wonderful that it was only about 15 minutes long, so everyone could go seek warmth. But it was another reason for people to come to Hamilton, to commune, to enjoy what downtown has to offer while all helping a good cause. So, the fire department is a big thanks. Chatterbox Sports is a big thanks. Who else am I forgetting? Oh, and the businesses, just all coming together and being open to this, because I think that's something that you don't see very often in a lot of other communities, is businesses coming together, not looking at each other as competition, as looking at each other as collaboration and how to join together to make things better for everybody. So I think that's a special thing of Hamilton, and it's something that I definitely cherish.
Anybody else want to say a few words about Turkey Drop 2025? It was a lot of fun, and I saw the same faces at all 3 places, which was really kind of cool. So, Jim, it's collaboration, not competition, right?
Collaboration over competition.
Over competition. Okay. And you also want to speak about Turkey Drop? Otherwise, a round of applause for Turkey Drop 2025. All right, Turkey Trot 2025.
All right.
Katie?
So, hi. Thanks for having us. It's a little different of a year for us, as you can see. Just super thankful we could put on the Turkey Trot again this year. But we have an incredible team as well. We brought together about 3,000 people on Thanksgiving this year to run, which is pretty awesome. And all the kids, it's so fun. And Mr. Redlegs was there this year. It's fun to hear about all of the ways that we're feeding people. I think this is a way we feed their souls a little. And from Hamilton as well as from surrounding communities, to be able to see some of the great streets of Hamilton by running through them, and just to see the collaboration of our community coming together, and over 100 people come and volunteer. So all these people are either paying to be there or showing up for free, which is pretty incredible to have that many people. And just the spirit is incredible. People were pretty cold. It was 22 degrees. So you don't see all of the smiles necessarily in the photos, but there was a lot of joy. And yes, there was, thanks to the Marriott, we had space inside for about 1,000 people waited till the race day to pick up their packets. So
again, incredible volunteers that help out with that. Got some volunteers here, and we did something new this year where we, my friend Jessica back here, she's and her husband are opening a new business coming up this year, a running shop, and they shared an idea to start one of the benefits of opportunity for people when they signed up for the race was to give money to the potential runner who couldn't pay to sign up. And so we were able to pay for about 40 participants through the donation and kindness of others, which is just something that's neat to allow people who wouldn't have otherwise been able to participate come out. So yeah, we try to keep the price down in general if you compare kind of other Thanksgiving runs. But it was, yeah, again, another great event that benefited our local ministries for underserved communities of teen moms and adolescents with special needs. So we're super grateful for the support of the city, and it's an honor to be up here with everybody else doing awesome things in the community.
And it benefited a group called Young Lives, is that correct,
Young
Katie?
Lives and Capernaum Young Life is for the adolescents with special needs.
And that started in a garage in Highland Park 10 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, we had 30 people 11 years ago in my driveway, and then almost 3,000 this year.
Thanks also to Meyer Brothers, who
Meyer
helped
Brothers
sponsor
and
the
Sons.
event.
My friend Faye is right behind me, Faye Meyer, and Debbie over here does a ton. The volunteer team works throughout the year to help put all the details together. There's a lot of details gathering that many people on Thanksgiving morning.
It's a lot of logistics, no
Yes.
doubt about that. Anybody else want to speak for Turkey Trot?
Hi, I'm Faye. I just wanted to say what a great holiday tradition it is, not just to gather with friends, but with each increasing year, I am just prouder and prouder to be a Hamiltonian, to be a part of this community, and to see a day when so many people come out to serve others, to gather together. It is such a proud moment, and I think for those of us who are within the community, we put our effort, we organize, we support others, and we all get to benefit. It is such a great day, and I think we all have so much to be thankful for, so much to be proud of, and just really grateful to be a part of this community.
Round of applause for Turkey Trot and all these folks who put together a special Thanksgiving. So thanks to you.
There's one other thank you I wanted to put out there, and that is to TV Hamilton and to the Chamber of Commerce and Jeff Archibald for getting the word and getting the stories, the wonderful background stories of all of these things, putting them out there for people to see so that this momentum can continue and can continue to grow to help the community, and it's because of you guys putting it out there, so thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Jeff. All right. Thank all of you again for making this a special Thanksgiving in 2025. And as you can tell on the screen, there's additional events coming up in Hamilton, including Operation North End Pole this Sunday, December 14th, Municipal Brew Works Chili Cook-Off, December 17th, Happy Hamel Holiday, cocktail party at Basil's.
Tommy, you could put that coat back on. It's all right.
Okay. I could be joined by council down here for a second. Full of surprises today. Okay, well, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Michael Pittman. Will you please come up here?
knew so. Everybody kept on asking me if I was coming tonight. I'm always here.
You are always here. He's always a great representative of journalism. You've been fair with city council. I mean, you put out there what you see, what you hear, what you investigate. And we've just been really impressed as a council for the job that you have done. Some of your human interest things that you put into your articles. I mean, you tell that you care about this city and you care about this county. So it was a no-brainer when you were saying that, oh man, this is going to be my last meeting. We weren't going to let that go by at all without recognizing you. So we have a proclamation of thanks for you. I'm going to read it right now, if that's okay. Yeah. He's a pretty good catcher, too, in softball. I've seen that. And that's at the Miracle League for Joe Nuxall Miracle League fundraiser. He catches every single year. Office of the Mayor, a proclamation. Whereas Hamilton City Council and City Administration would like to recognize and extend heartfelt gratitude for retiring local reporter Michael Pittman. Whereas in 1999, after graduating from Mount St. Joseph University in Cincinnati, Mike Pittman began his career as a journalist at the Mason Pulse Journal. And whereas over the following 26 years, Mike held reporting jobs across Butler and Warren counties in Mason, Middletown, Hamilton, and Fairfield, covering Fairfield and its schools for 15 years. And whereas he began covering the city of Hamilton in 2021, providing crucial, reliable, and fair-minded coverage of the city's growth for the past 5 years. And he has also served as MC for several election forums over the years. Whereas Mike is married to Christy Pittman, they have 2 children, Emma, a senior at Xavier University, and Sophie, a freshman at Seton High School. They also have 2 dogs, Indy and Dana. And whereas Mike spends his leisure time working on his first novel, looking forward to that.
I am too. So.
Is Hamilton going to be the city where things happen in?
Not really.
Could you put somebody from Hamilton in there at least?
Maybe.
We look forward to his first novel, and he also, in his leisure time, creates props for his daughter's dance team with the Prop Pops Squad alongside other fathers. Therefore, I, Pat Muller, Mayor of the City of Hamilton, Ohio, members of Hamilton City Council, do recognize Michael Pittman, wishing him a restful and relaxing retirement from Cox First Media, parent company of the Journal News. This December 31st, the City of Hamilton and his fellow colleagues will miss the invaluable contributions he made daily through his important work. And it was important work, educating our citizens. And that's, my father was a journalist, and educating people was something he loved doing. And you picked local government, local schools, the most important things, probably you can really investigate and look into. You took up that challenge, and you've done it since 1999.
Been a while.
Been a while. Okay. You want to say a few words?
No, I'm good.
Oh, come on, man. You're a man of many words, obviously.
Write them down.
All right. All right. Let's at least get a good picture of you before that rolls off. All right. Michael Pittman, thank you. Famous people up there. Governors, professors of colleges, John Boehner. Man, you knew everybody.
I know a few people.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
before he walks away, we kind of heard conversation that, well, you kind of ruined this because we're going to do this on the 10th, but we thought you heard you and Ryan were going to have a cigar and maybe a bourbon after to celebrate retirement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you get your present a little bit early, so I went cigar shopping for you, so there's... Now enjoy that. I know it's not the brand you smoke all the time, but those are pretty good.
It's not candy
No,
either.
the bourbon, you go buy yourself. So,
Thank you very
congrats,
much.
bud.
A round of applause for Michael Pittman.
pretty good too. You ever had those, Mike?
I have not. Those aren't Swisher Sweets, I don't think.
No, not at all. Not near.
Okay.
I can't believe I spent money on Michael Pittman. No, it's all right. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, we have like 4 people who have signed the Audience of Citizens book. Audience of Citizens is when individuals make comments. They may speak during this part of the agenda or may reserve the right to speak when the item is up for a vote on the council floor. All individuals who intend to address council are required to sign this public speaking book, and each speaker is allowed up to 5 minutes. Now, we've got Matt Davis up here first on the Speedway. Do you want to talk in the audience of citizens, sir? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you want to speak now, it'd be fine. Good evening. Give us your name and your address, please.
Good evening. I'm Matt Davis. I'm with CESO. We're in Columbus, Ohio. Here on behalf of the Speedway and the developer for the Speedway at the property at 2949 Dixie Highway. I know we're kind of low on your agenda. I think we're the last item right now, so no big deal. But I appreciate, Mayor, you and the council's time here. Just wanted to kind of speak to the fact, I know, Mayor, we've spoken the Planning Commission. Just wanted to, talk to the council and just kind of re-emphasize why we're looking at this property. And I think the biggest issue I think with Planning Commission we had was the more of the 24-hour operation that we have there that we're requesting, being a conditional use permit. We want, one of the things that we were looking at doing was we had a couple of variances or 3 variances that we were looking at. One of the things we do want to, hopefully get your approval for this, but one of the things we want to take off the table of variances is the EV chargers and add those as part of our project. One of what we had originally proposed was that to be a variance for just the infrastructure going in. We want to go ahead and just go ahead and look at including that as the whole EV setup as to add a EV charging station, or 2 actually. Speedway doesn't put just 1 in, they will always put 2 stations in for this location. So to try to help with that area and with what we're trying to do with this location. One of the things again, we had 3 variances. The other 2, I don't think we had an issue working with the Planning Commission and working with the city to address those, which was the variance for windows, lack of transparency, going with some gray spandrel glass to kind of, and which will be lit from the front to kind of mimic the windows. And it's due to the layout of the building that causes us to request that. We have back of house on both sides of the building. We don't have anything that is really suitable to have windows looking into. Storerooms and restrooms is not where you really want windows. So, those are the reasons for those variances. The other one was the paving going into a little bit of the setback on the south side of the property. Again, trying to address those things and take care of any concerns with lights going into neighboring properties, with putting fences in, working with with planners to figure out what we can do fence-wise and landscaping-wise to make that happen and resolve that issue. I think, again, the big issue was the 24-hour. We're hoping, with adding the EV chargers, being able to have that in that area of the city helps with that effect. And again, just trying to go over that and taking into consideration, I know we had some council with us last time, and just going back to some of the uses for that particular property that don't require conditional use like we would for the fuel center. And that's, bars, nightclubs, private clubs can go in there. without any conditional use, things that may not really benefit that area as well. Speedway is really, now that they're owned by 7-Eleven, they're really trying to step up their product and to compete with the QTs and things. They're not really they're trying to re-emphasize their branding, that they're not the Speedway of old. They're trying to give it a new look, a more updated look, and keep that, because we know we've got competition with the QT and Wawas and things of that nature that are definitely had in the past been definitely higher end fuel centers going in. That's one of the reasons we've tried to meet every design criteria of the city to meet the new standards that are design criteria standards that are there with the exterior of the building, the way it looks, the way all the appearances are, the landscaping, to make sure that it does meet that nicer, more upscale look of what you would find at the QTs and some of the other ones. And again, that's part of why Speedway is really, that brand is really trying to upgrade its looks and its appearances and serve the communities in a better way than maybe what you've seen in the past or what you've been used to in the past. So again, we want to let you know that we are planning on, we would be, if approved, we would put in all the EV chargers that we showed on our plans initially, and just take that variance off so that we're just down to the 2 variances and the conditional use that we would need for that property. So again, just wanted to kind of run through that with you, let you know we've had been having a lot of discussions over the last week and a half since the last meeting, and want you to know, we really want to try to do whatever we can to work with the city to allow this to happen. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Richard Harris.
Step outside.
Mr. Harris, are you outside? Richard Harris?
Left.
Okay, so Richard Harris, not here. Mackenzie Long?
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Long. I live over on Heaton Street. I've lived in Hamilton for about 4 years now, ever since I got out of the Marine Corps. So for most of my free adult life, I've been in Hamilton. I absolutely adore Hamilton. I'm here to talk about the data center again. I just came up here to ask, what do we have to do to get you all to not go through with this? We've come up here week after week, presenting data, presenting studies, and you all seem very dismissive. And it seems like anyone with 5 minutes, access to Google, and half a brain can understand that this is not a good idea for us or really any community at all. I've been at these meetings for a couple of months now, and I've watched you all do so much good in this community, so I don't understand what you could be thinking. This will overshadow every good thing you've ever done and will only leave a legacy of pollution and raised utility bills. Really, my only question is, what can we possibly do within our power to save ourselves from the consequences of your actions?
Well, Mackenzie, we are still learning as you are learning and researching yourself, and I can tell by some of what you have brought forth to us, we are still investigating, researching, and learning ourselves about engineering, about operations, and all of that. So it's early, and we're doing our job, which you'd expect us to do, which is to learn as much as we possibly can before we go forward, if we go forward.
So there's nothing we can do at this point in time to convince you otherwise?
What I'm
Any
saying
amount
is,
of signatures on a petition?
Any time people want to come to a podium,
We've been coming to the
petitions.
podium.
I'm not going to go. I'm just going to say we're learning, and I think I've said that quite a bit.
There are already studies out, though, that show this isn't a good idea, that show that This is detrimental to communities.
We are working on this ourselves. So I was going to say thank you because you're passionate about what you're saying. It's not lost on us when people come to the podium and say things, and they're very passionate. And it indicates that you've done your research. But we are still doing our job in looking into things and learning about it. All I can tell you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is Natalie here? And if you walk up and give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Natalie Poirier. I also live on Heaton. And to kind of go off of that with just the fact that I don't have anything prepared, but everybody comes here and we try our best to make time to be here, to be able to speak at the podium. We are not paid to be here the same way that you guys are paid to be here. I have to miss out on family trivia night that we have every single Wednesday. So every time that I'm here, I'm missing my family time. This is my time off. This is time that I am taking to be here to express this to you guys. And that's where everybody who comes here to do so, it's the same thing. And with that, we bring forth like all of this information, this research that we're doing, and we're getting dismissive feedback. We're getting dismissive responses, and it kind of just appears to me that when we come to you with these issues, you're like, oh, we're doing our research, and you're kind of just pushing us, being dismissive until we're tired, until we no longer can make the time to be here. And then you guys just get to go forth with whatever you feel, whether it affects us terribly or not. And so that's just kind of how I see whenever I come to these meetings, how I feel that it's coming is that you guys just think that we're gonna get tired, that we're gonna stop caring about this, but we're not gonna stop caring about this, especially if you go forth with this and disrupt our community, cause the same noise pollution that we care about with the trains and it's gonna bring down the value of the housing around it and the value of Hamilton as a whole. You are selling our water that we do not have an abundance of. And we have told you this repeatedly. And it seems like with all of these other things that you guys are dealing with, you guys are celebrating these wonderful things, and you guys seem to care so much about Hamilton until it comes into this data center. And then all of the empathy seems to leave. It's dismissive, it's even sassy responses at times. And it's just kind of, it baffles me that you guys can care so much about your community and do so many good things, and then it comes to this and you're willing to throw that away for whatever these huge companies are telling you, and you're saying you're doing these research, and there is research already against this data center. You guys are just waiting for us to get tired in ways to twist information to make it seem like a good idea, and it's not gonna be. You already know that it's not. And so I just honestly am really confused on why it's still even something on the table at this point, whenever it's been shown in other cities that it just destroys the community, in all honesty. And that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I can say that, not just for myself, but I think for all of council, that we do most of our council work not up here. It's out there. It's listening to people. It's doing research. I know I'm getting information from college professors, information from doctoral students who have been studying this. I imagine their emails and their voicemails are being filled up with information from people who think, and they're correct. We need to learn as much as we can, both sides. So, what we're doing out there, researching and reading, we're just doing that. It's not like we're not just sitting here just saying no. We're not doing anything like that. Okay, we're researching, and when the time is right, we'll be making some decisions. And when the information is to the point where we can make an educated decision, that's what we're after. Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
please.
may I say something?
Yes.
So for Natalie and Mackenzie, we appreciate you being here and listening.
I've been on council for 7 years, or starting my 7th year. And I know that there's a process, no matter what it is. If it's a hotel, if it's an intersection, a quiet zone, a new development, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. This has not been on our agenda. It is something that, yes, has been made public, that a data center is interested in Hamilton. And I will tell you that at home, I have a binder about this thick right now of articles and everything that I'm reading, all your notes and everything, I've got it on here. So when you come every week, it's not on the agenda. So we're not voting. We do not make decisions behind the scenes. Any decision that's made will be made here. And there are regulations around that. We don't do this quietly. But I could tell you a list of things that are possibilities, a new business or whatever it might be for our city. And we do care about the city. And I think this is very interesting. This is a first for me on council to be talking about a data center, something that I don't know a lot about. I didn't know a lot about moving a train depot down the road, and I had lots of questions about that. So it's everything, and I do appreciate you coming, and I don't want you to feel like we're just sitting here shaking our heads like you don't mean something, because you really, really do. I get phone calls, we all get phone calls, we get letters, and we can respond. But right now, there's nothing in writing that we have that we're talking about right now. There's a study that's being done. We hope that our city manager says it's going to be here in January. That's going to give us a lot of information because, again, I don't know a lot about data centers, but I do appreciate you being here, and I really don't want you to think that we're just nodding and saying thanks, because I truly mean it. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me know that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, one comment.
Vice Mayor Pullman.
Again, thank you for coming here. I do appreciate you coming up. And I think the general consensus is on Facebook and stuff that we have already voted on this and already decided on this. And I agree with everything Susan said. We have a lot of, I have a lot of concerns. To tell you what my vote's going to be, I know somebody stood up here and said, what's your vote? Well, I don't know yet. Haven't researched it, haven't got all the details. What you're reading is what I'm reading. How do I feel about it now? I'm up in the air. It sounded like you thought that it was already voted on by us, and it's not. I mean, it's definitely, we've got a lot of research to do. And there's time, I'm very impatient. I want things done pretty quick. And I wish it would go quick enough for everybody. And your time is valuable, so is our time up here. But we want you to voice your opinion. We're not ignoring you. We're taking it all in. But it's going to be a process. This is not going to happen. I don't even think it would happen in 2026. If to even get it approved at that time. So it's going to be a long process. And we're still going to be studying it, and we do appreciate it. So don't think we're ignoring you. We're not. And I get calls all the time, and I appreciate the calls. And you're all welcome to call me if you need to meet with me or something, or anybody on council. They'll talk with you on it, but it's still a long process. And, we do respect your opinions, and everything you say is worth a lot to us, okay? I just want to clarify that this is not a done deal by any means, okay?
I guess whenever it feels like we know that you haven't made the decision, but I guess to us it's clearly like we think it's a clear no. So the fact that it isn't a clear no yet makes us feel like why is it up in the air? But
nobody has a clear no or yes. Yeah. That's the thing about it. We really don't know yet. And for
that live near data centers,
well,
not a clear no.
Hey, well, we're gonna kind of treat this a little bit the way we always do. People come to the podium, they speak. You've had time, and you're finishing up yours. And this is important. You being here tells us this is important. So we are doing what you would want us to do, which is to thoroughly look at this from all angles, listen to everybody's opinion. That's what we are doing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's all we've got who have signed the book for audience of citizens. Now go to the consent agenda. That is all staff reports, all caucus reports, meeting minutes, information report, October 2025 financial report, information report, October 2025 investment report. We're going to go into the committee of the whole. That's a time frame when council can ask questions and provide direction or comments on various issues that are before us at this time. I'll accept the motion that the regular meeting be recessed and the committee of the whole take place.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Council Member Nab, second by Council Member Beer. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 7-10. We now go into the caucus agenda. City Clerk, will you lead us through the caucus agenda this time?
Absolutely. Our first presentation will be by our Finance Director, Mr. Dave Jones, for items 1, 2, and 4.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. So the first item up tonight is part of the 2026 budget is a 3.5% across the board increase for all Schedule A or non-union employees. It'll be effective on 12/13, so we're going to have a 2-reading emergency ordinance on the 10th. The reason we do it on 12/13, that is the pay period start date. It'll be on the first check on January 2nd, and that's how we budget is on that calendar year. We also, through the past, I think, 3 or 4 years, have the Step 11 lump sum payment. So if you remember, each employee is in a range, and in those ranges are 11 steps. They're approximately 2.6% apart. Once you reach step 11, you no longer get that next step. So we do the one-time lump sum payment in September. It is contingent upon a satisfactory performance evaluation. And you can see the costs in the table to the different funds. Is there any questions on that one?
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next one is an internal note. Some of this may look familiar. We talked about it when we talked about the OMAP borrowing, and we borrowed money for the Special Assessments Fund. The Special Assessment Fund, that initially funds the concrete repairs for sidewalks and driveway aprons to homeowners when we're doing the street resurfacing projects. We can advance money from different funds into that Special Assessment Fund for 1 year with council approval. If we go longer than 1 year, we have to actually issue a general obligation bond, which is what we're doing now. That bond will repay the advance that we issued in 2024, and the debt service or the payment pledge on that is from the homeowners' taxes, or the homeowners' real estate taxes, is the sidewalk blocks and driveway aprons and the repairs to their concrete are placed on their real estate taxes. Is there any questions on that one? And the next one is the fourth and final supplemental appropriation of 2025. The first one is a $3.5 million transfer from the general fund to the capital improvement fund. It's for scheduled debt obligations, and then also $2.2 million in funding for the Schuler-Benninghofen project. Then in the capital improvement and debt service fund, we obligate those revenues or appropriate those revenues for the project. And then the water fund, we're transferring $1.2 million out of the actual water operating fund into the water construction fund. That's for payments on the ban. So the payments or the debt, when we issue the debt, it goes into these construction funds. Paying interest or debt service out of those construction funds or out of those borrowed funds is not a permissible use. The operating funds of the utilities pay the debt service, so we're transferring that money back into the water construction fund. You'll see on the staff report several other housekeeping items, as it is our last supplemental of the year, and for audit, our actual can't exceed budget, but these are the significant items. Is there any questions on this?
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I'll cover item number 3. Hello, Mayor, members of council, Daniel Tidyman, City Clerk. I've got a real quick presentation for item number 3. This is related to reappointing 2 resident members of the Ordinance Review Commission. So Ordinance Review Commission, this is a commission that specializes in reviewing changes to our codified ordinances. I like to think of it as an extra layer of review prior to these changes going to City Council. Membership consists of our mayor, members of council, certain city staff, as well as 2 resident members that are appointed annually. Our current members are Mark Kyle and Nigel Watson. Their terms end on the 31st of December this year, but I've been in contact with both of them, and they're both interested in reappointment for calendar year 2026. So staff's recommendation is to reappoint both Mark Kyle and Nigel Watson for a term starting January 1st, 2026 and terminating December 31st, 2026. Do you have any questions on this item? Thank you. And next up for items 5 through 9, we'll have a presentation by our planning director, Ms. Lauren Nelson.
Evening, Mayor and members of council. So first up for me this evening is a proposal related to a multifamily development at 421 Dayton Street. The site is outlined in red there. It's 2.75 acres. It's owned by IRG. The property is zoned entertainment mixed-use development, and it's currently a vacant paved lot that is very occasionally used as parking. It does feature overhead electric along the Butler Street side. The property is bordered by Butler Street, MLK, and Dayton with the railroad there to the east. And this was a joint preliminary and final plan development application to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission took action and recommended approval of this preliminary and final plan development with conditions. The application notably included no variance requests from the Hamilton zoning ordinance. So it met all requirements for building materials, transparency, landscaping, parking, and points on the design scorecard. The project includes a 4-story apartment building. These are the renderings from the applicant. It's a mix of brick and fiber cement facade materials with metal accent details. The 120 dwelling units consist of 54 one-bedroom units, 46 two-bedroom units, and 20 three-bedroom units. The building has some amenities, including, I know this is hard to read on this screen, but this is the floor plan of the first floor. And on the first floor there, at the main corner there, which is like the Butler MLK side of the property, there is a club room and a fitness room. The building also includes 6 different apartment layouts, as the 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units each have 2 different layouts. And all of the upper floor units have balconies. This is the site plan, and the site plan, some additional amenities on the property as a whole include an 8,000 square foot park and like green space and playground area, which is in that inner area of that U-shaped building is a park and playground. There's also a pocket park at the northwest corner by MLK and Dayton Street. It includes 3 parking garage structures to the east along the railroad side of the property. In terms of access to this, the primary access to the property is off of Butler Street. There is also ingress and egress from the Dayton Street side, but it will be right in, right out only given the close proximity to the intersection at MLK. They met the requirements for parking, as I mentioned. The majority of those are on site. However, there is a small number of parking spaces that are captured for this project that are directly across MLK. On IRG owns property immediately across that intersection, and so there is a lesser number of parking spaces that would be directly across that intersection. So tenants could, potentially be parking at the IRG lot directly across this intersection, walking where there's already an existing crosswalk at MLK and Dayton, and then immediately onto the property of this apartment building. And there is a privacy fence along the east property line to prevent foot traffic that may be looking to walk across the railroad tracks and enter the property. So there is fencing in between those garage structures on that back property line. Are there any questions regarding this proposed project?
Please.
Lauren, I apologize. How many floors?
Oh, I'm sorry, I may not have said that. It's a 4-story building.
4-story? Okay,
I'll go
thank
back
you.
to the rendering there.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Lauren, how do they allot the parking places? Does every apartment have like 1 or 2, or do you purchase?
So I do not know how they're going to attribute those parking spaces. There's a calculation that the zoning ordinance requires so many spaces per dwelling unit, and they meet that number, which they have 186 parking spaces for this project.
Okay.
But how tenants, like, are they paying for those spaces? Do they come with your, as part of your lease and your rent? I don't know those details.
Okay. And that was just important. I know someone who actually lives in a development, but they don't want to buy a place, so they park on the street and randomly. And I guess if they sell the parking spots and people don't want to buy it, it takes up street parking, and there's not a lot of street parking around there. So I was just inquiring whether or not
Sure.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, on to
Thank
the
you.
next, yes. So this is actually the next two, because they're the same thing, just with different properties. So these slides are going to cover the next two caucus items. So this is related to rezoning a handful of properties on Harrison Avenue, Kenworth Avenue, Noble Avenue, and Fairview Avenue to R2A. These properties, I listed the specific addresses on here, but it's 6 properties, I believe. But these parcels are currently zoned R2, which is single family, but the structures that exist on these were originally built as duplexes. So they're currently legal non-conforming based on our zoning shifting over the years, and so the zoning doesn't match the actual use that's on these properties. So this effort is simply to make that correction so that these properties are correctly zoned as to permit the 2-family buildings which are already on this property. And this, both planning staff and building department staff kind of looked into it, kind of drove around one particular property in each of these areas, came on our radar. So then we went and drove around the area to see if there were other duplexes in that vicinity, and that's how these particular properties sort of came up. And we looked through city files of past permits and got Ken Rivera's input on that. So feel confidently that these were originally constructed as duplexes, and most of them are still existing. They are still existing and operating as duplexes, so this zoning just corrects that to R2A to allow for a 2-family residence. So both of these went to Planning Commission, who reviewed these proposals, took action, and recommended approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Lauer.
at what point did they start to begin this process? Because I've gotten some phone calls about this process, and it seems that we won't make this decision until February because of some of the meeting times and all that it doesn't.
Yeah, so the rezoning process, unless I'm misspeaking, requires legislation. So it's not other items that come to you from Planning Commission, which just go to you as a caucus report. This is changing the zoning itself, and so that requires the legislative process, and so that's why the timeline is a bit longer.
I understand that, but as the one resident called me, this is extending some of the time that it takes to, he's still paying utilities and paying on this property, while the other gentleman had to extend a lease to continue to have somewhere to live. And they're both ready to get rid, one's ready to get rid of this property, another one's ready to move into this property, and it's put some financial burden on the one gentleman. And I would love to sit down and just talk about possibilities of how we can get stuff like this fast forward and avoid some stuff to maintain a small government mindset. And I think it's unfortunate. I think it may seem minor to some of us, but to others who are struggling to pay rent and they can move into a house finally and pay a mortgage that is less than the rent they're paying, it's a burden on them. And I would like to see us look at things to possibly, and I probably shouldn't, maybe I should have called you, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But I would like to see us look into some things where we could lessen time frames in which some of these transactions occur.
I'd be happy to talk to you. Yeah.
Sorry if you feel like I called you out. I'm not. I respect everything you do.
Yeah. No, not at all. Be happy to talk about it. Are there any additional questions for these particular ones? The next two slides, I'm sorry, I forgot to click through these. This is just showing where the parcels are. That one's not loading. Okay. So next up is a conditional use application regarding the property at 2301 Pleasant Avenue. And this is related to conditional use request to allow body art as an accessory use at Humane Salon. The property is zoned B2, which is community business. And the Planning Commission, again, took action and recommended approval of the conditional use with conditions. Don't know why this isn't loading entirely. There's a second photo next to it, which is just showing the property. But the property is an existing salon, so Humane Salon is an existing business. It is an open floor plan with a few private suites or offices within the space, and so their conditional use application is to be able to hire a tattoo artist, so body art tattooing, an individual who would operate in one of those private suites to the rear of the building. And again, this conditional use application was not requesting any variances, so they met all of the conditional use criteria under the Hamilton zoning ordinance, and this would just be an accessory use, adding another amenity or service that the salon can provide. So it would be accessory. The business would maintain the salon service as its primary business, and the tattoo service would just be additional to that. And Planning Commission, again, took action and recommended approval of this conditional use application. Are there any questions for this one?
You.
Okay, and lastly for me is the conditional use application for 2949 Dixie Highway related to Speedway's proposed fueling station and convenience store. Excuse me, give me 1 second so I can get to the right page of my notes. Sure. Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks. Click through, back to Dixie Highway. So again, the property in question is 2949 Dixie Highway, seen here outlined in red. It is bordered by Hooven Avenue and Minor Avenue Alley, across the street from the Bob Meyer intersection. This is the location of the former Frisch's on Dixie Highway. The conditional use request is to allow a fueling station and convenience retail store at 2949 Dixie Highway, and included what Planning Commission heard was 3 variances to the Hamilton zoning ordinance. Now, I know the applicant was here today to address that one of those, they've proposed to eliminate one of those variance requests by installing the EV charging station. The site, as mentioned, is the former Frisch's on Dixie Highway. It is zoned B2, community business. The proposal includes demolishing the existing structure and constructing a speedway, gas station, and convenience store. Both the convenient retail store and fuel stations are listed as a conditional use in the Hamilton, in Section 1250 of the Hamilton zoning ordinance for B2 zoning districts. Again, there were 3 variances. They're run through earlier by the applicant, but they are related to a 10-foot landscape, a 10-foot setback from the front property line, and the variance request is due to needed paving and the location of the underground storage tanks. Transparency variance request on the side elevations, again, as stated by the applicant, due to the design of their store, which has back of house and restrooms on certain, parts of the building, so windows would not, they're proposing that would not be appropriate. And then the third was the EV charging stations, which again, they this evening have said that they would eliminate that variance request by meeting those requirements. Ultimately, Planning Commission took action and recommended denial of the conditional use request and the variances, citing conditional use criteria as number 2, 3, 7, and 8. And on this next slide, this is small text, but I was just going to run through what those conditional use criteria were that were cited by the Planning Commission. Discussion at the Planning Commission meeting primarily centered around hours of operation, as it's proposed to be a 24/7 operation, noise, and whether or not it was a good fit with or an appropriate fit for the surrounding area, and particularly given the location being adjacent to residential properties. So the recommendation for denial was based on these 4 conditional use criteria. So Planning Commission had stated that the proposal would substantially or permanently injure the appropriate use of the neighboring properties, would not serve the public convenience and welfare. Number 3, that the proposal would not be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity, and that such use would change the essential character of the area. Number 7, that the proposal would be hazardous or would have a negative impact on the existing or future neighboring uses. And number 8, that the proposal would involve uses, activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operation, including but not limited to hours of operation, that will be detrimental to any person's property or the general welfare by reason of excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glare, odor, or other characteristic not comparable to the uses permitted in the base zoning district. And these next slides, I just have the site plan and the renderings for your review as well. So this is the proposed site plan with the fueling pumps there facing Dixie Highway and the retail store to the rear. And then these are the elevations that were provided by the applicant of the proposed building. Oops, are there any questions related to this item?
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Lauren, can you go back to the larger diagram that shows it on the plot?
Sure.
Which is the building there?
So the...
Oh, I see, that's the pumps
With the
out
parking,
front.
the parking is all the way around the building, yeah. So
The
the pumps,
parking is around.
the pumps are up front along Dixie, and then the building is the rectangle with the parking.
Yeah, I looked
around
at it in the packet, but I may have looked at it at a different angle. Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Fear.
So Lauren, even with Mr. Davis coming up and telling us things, you're still opposed to?
So I'm not personally
I know.
have an opinion, but the Planning Commission, their recommendation based on those 4 conditional use criteria, their recommendation was that those 4 criteria were not met, and so they have recommended denial.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You get to hear from me one more time. Sorry, not done yet. So this is just an informational presentation related to the emergency legislation that is in front of you tonight for consideration. So if You recall in August, I did a very short presentation when we had legislation for Build Back the Block coming to you again. In August, it was related to the transfer of properties to Core, Habitat, and Todd Homes for the sale of city-owned lots and then the construction of 10 houses among those 3 partners. And at that time, the NHS has been a little bit further back, kind of in the queue based on funding, and that we are seeking with NHS HUD home dollars to fund the construction of these houses. And so we were waiting to bring the legislation to you until the funding was, it still has not been announced, but we believe that we should be hearing soon, so we just are getting this back in motion. So that's why I am before you tonight, just with an update and to kind of refresh your memory about where this stands since the legislation is in front of you this evening for consideration. So in the 600 block of East Avenue, much like those that were transferred to Core in the 900 block of East Avenue, where there's 2 houses currently under construction, this is currently 3 parcels being proposed to transfer to NHS that will be consolidated and replatted as 2 larger parcels, and 2 single-family homes will be constructed. When the caucus report for this item came to you much earlier this year, at that time, for the Build Back the Block program, we had drafted a single agreement that covered the sale and development details and all of the funding details for each of the partners. And as we learned more and this program developed, it became necessary to separate those 2 pieces out so that there is now a purchase and sale agreement that contemplates the sale and the transfer as well as the development of the houses. And then there's a, adjacent but separate funding agreement that talks about how these projects are being funded. And this is exactly the same agreements that were structured with NHS and Habitat and Todd Homes. So those items for those partners have already moved forward through you. So this is not anything different than what you saw with those partners. It's just with NHS for different properties. As I mentioned, the hope and the goal here is that there are HUD home dollars that will be funding the construction of the houses. In addition to that, the city is contributing, like the other Build Back the Block houses, the utility and permit fee waiver program, which council established that pilot program. So that sort of in-kind contribution from the city is part of this, as well as the architectural plans also, which has been shared with you previously, but as a reminder, staff has been working with local architects for the development of architectural plans that we can make available to not only Build Back the Block, but other interested individuals or developers looking to do infill development in the city, and that there would be architectural plans available to anybody that would like to use them for infill development in the city. So those plans are also being contributed to this project. And here is just the site map, so you can see where the 3 parcels are. To orient you, at the bottom of that aerial view is Hanover and East, so Garcia's Market. So this is just a couple of properties up the street from Garcia's Market, and then that's just a rendering of one of the houses that would be constructed on that site. And the reason for the emergency legislation is really just a timing issue so that we can move forward with, getting these agreements signed. Hopefully we're hearing from HUD shortly and can be transferring properties and get things in motion. Are there any questions on this one?
Thank you for the explanation about the legislation.
Yes, thank you.
And that concludes our presentations.
Thank you. Okay. I'll accept the motion. Committee of the whole be closed.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Council Member Ryan. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 7:39. I'll set the motion for regular meeting be reconvened.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Ryan. Roll call vote, please.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
You, we now go. Well, I'll set the motion at this time.
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Pullman.
Make a motion that with the exception of the items so noted, council receive the reports of the consent agenda and concur in the recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Councilmember Fear. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 7:40. I'll set the motion to regular meeting be recessed and the public hearing take place.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Vaughn. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 7:40. Could you please read a public hearing into the record?
A public hearing regarding the 2026 budget and appropriations ordinance.
Okay? And the audience wish to be heard at this public hearing involving the 2026 budget and appropriations ordinance. Anyone in the audience wish to be heard at this public hearing involving the 2026 budget and appropriations ordinance?
Mayor, our finance director, Mr. Dave Jones, does have a presentation about the budget.
Great.
If you feel so inclined.
Actually, yes, we definitely do need this presentation by both you and Mr. Porter.
Yeah, so good evening again, Mayor, members of council. I'll be going through the general fund and the cap and debt fund, and then Edwin will go through the infrastructure funds. In the respective time, this is an abbreviated presentation compared to what we gave at the Finance Committee, but I do believe everyone has the full slide deck. So this is the general fund with the Government Finance Officers Association, Triple Crown, 11 years with the 2025 budget presentation, budget book already awarded. So if we get the ACFR and the PAFR award, it'll be number 12.
A dynasty, Dave. No, it is.
Well, thank you. So key takeaways from this is, income tax, all funds compared to 2024 is up 6.9% or almost 2.4 million. We're projecting income tax at $39.9 million. The 2026 budgeted income tax revenue, all funds, is 37.5 million, of which 29 million goes to the general fund. Remember, income tax is split three ways. General fund 77.5. There's a public safety and health fund that gets 12.5%, and the cap and debt fund gets 10%. Probably an easier way to think of it is that 12.5% gets transferred into the general fund, so it's a 90-10 split. It's probably the easiest way to think of that. The adopted budget in 2025 for income tax, all funds, was $36 million. We did stay very conservative. Like you can see, we're projecting almost $40 million. We've had one employer that's having a very good year. I'm not comfortable, though, going all the way up to $40 million right off. I'd like to see a couple more years' history get under our belt. So we're staying conservative at the $37.5 million. However, that is a $1.5 million increase over the 25 adopted budget. Excuse me. The general fund has been structurally balanced for the last 4 years. It is not structurally balanced this year due to 27 pay periods. It's an anomaly due to the number of days and weeks in a year and 365 days, leap year, et cetera. 27 pays occurs about every 11 years, and adds about an additional $1.5 million to the general fund. General fund budgeted revenues are up 3.76%, and expenditures are up 7.32% over 2025. However, if you factor out that 27th pay, expenditures are up 4.88%. Again, and we've been doing this for several years, a proactive approach, general fund dollars, transferring over $1 million to the infrastructure renewal fund, street paving, intersection improvements. A lot of the infrastructure projects we got going is funded by general fund dollars. And the all-fund city budgets, $433.7 million, are up 3.35% over 2025. It's hard to see. It's a graph. It's a graph of all of our revenues. The three largest revenue components are income tax, reimbursements from our public safety and levy funds, and then also what we call shared services or chargeback from the utility funds. While that's a large source of revenue to the general fund, it's also an expense to the utility fund. So like my position, I'm a 5-way split. I'm funded 20% by the general fund and 80% by the utility funds. We try to keep that utility share service or chargeback number down, to keep rates down and help ratepayers out. This is a bar graph of our income taxes. We've been consistently increasing. We did have a flat period in 23 and 24. However, we've, proposing we're going to be way up in 25, and then you can see how we stay conservative with that graph on, or that bar on 2026. These are our expenses. Public safety's at 66.06% of the whole general fund expenses. Criminal Justice Center, that's not much. We've got a little maintenance for the new Criminal Justice Center. Special appropriations and transfers out. Went over in the fourth supplemental. We transfer money out of the general fund to scheduled debt obligations, et cetera, and things of that nature. General fund highlights. This is our beginning year fund balance. We've got projected revenues, projected expenses, and we also have our city policy with the resolution passed back in 2012, where our ending unencumbered fund balance has to be at least 10% of general fund revenues. So you can see in 2026 with that 27th pay, looks like we're going to come in at about $5.2 million, which would be under the 10%. However, we do have a budget stabilization fund that has about $1.2 million and can cover that. And hopefully, again, taxes could easily come in above that $37.5 million dollar mark and easily meet that. Here you can see the general fund unencumbered balance. You can see in 2023 where it dropped down. That's where we did the forgivable loan for the development down where Crawford Hoyne's going to be. The cap and debt fund, the general fund cap and debt fund, and some utilization of the CDBG funds. So again, this gets 10% of income tax revenue. We make a debt payment for Spooky Nook. We get reimbursement from that. The role of the band, the debt proceeds, that's the OMAP band. Real quick, while we are talking about the OMAP band, we did have pricing on that today. Got, great demand for the bonds. We were able to drop the yield down to 2.6%, so it goes out with a 4% coupon, but JP Morgan, Fidelity, they subscribed for the whole thing. So demand's up, supply's down, we're able to drop that yield down, saved us about $500,000. You can see the different expenses that are going into that with the vehicles, dump trucks. You've heard a lot about how we've had to switch to snow plowing. Those dump trucks are for leaves, to for asphalt, the mill and fill program. And, we're getting another dump truck for the public works folks, police tasers, cruisers. And that's the list of the expenditures for the Hamilton Cap and Debt Fund. We've utilized CDBG funds over the past several years. For some reason, HUD funds, they only allow you to buy fire equipment amongst other things. As far as general fund, they don't let us buy police equipment. But you can see all the different fire equipment and medic units we bought out of that. And we're also using it to pave streets over the last couple years with all the supply chain issues. That HUD money comes with a lot of strings attached, and you run into what they call timeliness issues. So we kind of pivoted away from some of the fire equipment because it can take 2 years, 3 years to get some of these engines, or a year to get a medic unit in. So we're proposing to start paving streets in some of these low to moderate income areas. Let Edwin do, if it's okay with you guys, the infrastructure budget, and answer any questions you guys may have.
Evening, Mayor Moeller, members of council, Hamilton community. Edwin Porter, Executive Director of Infrastructure. Dave said I have 5 minutes for this presentation. I asked him for 90, so maybe we'll meet in the middle. But just want to go over a couple things. Infrastructure budget is significantly important to what we do on a daily basis. I know there's a lot of information on the slides I'm going to present here, but I want to cover several things. So regarding this year specifically, so natural gas usage is up around 15% from 2024, and that's just due to colder temperatures. First few months of the year this year and colder temperatures towards the end of the year. Electric usage is similar to 2024. Water usage is up about 4%, which is mostly attributed to increased flows from Butler County. Wastewater flows are similar to 2024. So obviously customer usages reflect revenues into the utility systems, and those revenues support O&M expenses, so that's operation and maintenance, as well as capital investment. So talking about rates for 2026, so it will be for our water system, we will implement step 4 of the 5-year rate plan on Jan 1, 2026. The next 3 are also on Jan 1, 2026. So step 4 of the 5-year rate plan for sewer, step 2 of the 5-year rate plan for refuse, step 2 of the 2-year rate plan for stormwater. Step 3 of the 5-year rate plan will be implemented on April 1, 26, and that's for natural gas. And then for electric, there are no rate adjustments anticipated in 2026. So those are base rates. But talking about supply costs, so the gas cost recovery rider, that's called the GCR. What that is it's a variable component of the rate structure, and that accounts for the variability of gas cost supply. So as there's variation there, the GCR can either add to or credit the rates. As most of you know, we had a fixed rate contract that started in 2017 and extended through 2025. The best way that I heard someone describe that contract, it's like walking up at the World Series, calling a grand slam, and then hitting a grand slam. So incredible contract, and so since 2017 until now, we've saved incredible amount of money based upon the fixed rate of that contract, and that was that ended on October 31st of this year. So we are in the new contract, and we have 70% of our rates locked in through May of next year. And then the rest of that goes into monthly basis. But the point of it is we're in a new contract period. We anticipated some gas cost rate increases and accommodated for those both in the rate structure and the GCR. So the GCR was set at 12 cents per CCF. And I'll kind of bring that all home when a slide later on. And then the power cost adjustment, the PCA rider was set to a charge of $0.0035 per kilowatt hour. Once again, that represents a variable portion of our electric supply. And that's a charge now of $0.0035 dollars per kilowatt hour. And that represents a couple things. One, increased market costs for the portion that we do buy from the market. 2, we've had a unit out at Greenup for several months now due to a mechanical failure that we're working on. And also, we're projected to have lower revenues from the REC values of our power. So looking at this, someone told me this was an eye chart, and I said, thank you. And then they told me, no, it's not a good thing. It means there's too much data on there. But this is the O&M highlights for all of our funds for next year. I'm only going to point out a couple. So natural gas, you'll see that it's increased 11.26%, and that's driven the majority of which I just spoke about, which was the increased gas supply costs. Water is 13.72% increase O&M next year, and that's driven, the majority of that is chemical supply, so we use lime to soften our water because it comes from the aquifer, and the cost of that lime has been increasing dramatically, so significantly to that. Then also we had John Bowie was previously budgeted for 6 months, and he was split between water and wastewater, and he's been replaced with a assistant superintendent at the water plant. So you can kind of see the percent change throughout the rest of the funds for O&M and operations and maintenance costs. So once again, these are personnel, maintenance, material, supplies, et cetera. So this is a capital investment. So next year we have $52.3 million planned for capital investment. And once again, the rate increases that we talked about earlier, those are in place to support our O&M as well as our capital investment. And what capital investment means is making sure that we're investing appropriately into these systems so that they're continuing to provide safe, reliable utilities, affordable utilities now and into the future. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll point out a couple significant projects for next year. So for electric, we have $1.6 million budgeted for EV charging stations. So that's going to be 16 DC fast chargers. Those are all being 100% grant funded, paid for. So it's a $1.6 million expense here, but it's also $1.6 million revenue from a grant. We have $3 million that's going to Hamilton Enterprise Park to bolster that system, and that leads to economic development opportunities in that area, which leads to job creation. We have $1.5 million that's budgeted for our GT2 gas turbine. So that's a 1970s era Westinghouse gas turbine unit that continues to provide a significant benefit for behind the meter peak shaving. So we're going to invest about $1.5 million into that, and we expect that to pay off in less than 1 year. Moving on to water. So in water, we have a approximately $14 million project that was previously the water tower that's been adjusted. That's a booster pumping station as well as hydropneumatic tanks. Once again, that's in Hamilton Enterprise Park to support those usages in that park. $8 million of that is being grant funded, $3 million from Butler County ARPA funds, and $5 million from the Ohio Department of Development. And then another one, it's not a significant dollar amount here, but I want to point it out. So we have a couple $100,000 budgeted for Welsh Avenue water main. And that's a really unique project. And what we're doing, it's a pilot program. So we obviously have gas and water employees, and typically they're operating and maintaining our water and gas distribution system. Dan Arthur challenged them to execute a capital project, and so we're going to spend $120,000, I think is what it is, to buy the materials to do a capital project, and that's using our internal equipment, internal personnel to do a capital project. So that's going to save us around $250,000 for that. So once again, it's about being innovative with our resources, challenging ourselves to drive the most value out of the investment that our community is making with their rates. So I want to shout out Dan for the confidence in his team for that, and I know we're going to knock this one out of the park. Infrastructure Renewal Fund, so there's $5.9 million budgeted there, and that's for the dual roundabouts at Northwest Washington, West Elkton, North B. Once again, that's grant funded as well, so $5.9 million there. $1.5 million for the Beltline Trail, so that's phase 4, is that phase 4 of the Beltline Trail? That's from Flubbs all the way back to Main Street. So that's going to, at that point in time, have the significant majority of the rail spur will now have been converted into the Beltline Trail. So shout out to Alan and Liz, who have been tenaciously applying for and receiving grants for that project over the past number of years to get that project completed. And then we have $1 million budgeted in there for the demolition of the G Street viaduct. So 2026 capital resurfacing projects, I'm not going to go through all of these, but once again, we continue to invest a significant amount into our streets. Importantly on there, you'll see Park Avenue. So this is an OKI grant-funded project. The fiscal year for the state runs from, I think, June to June or June to July, so we can't even start that project until next July. I know Alan and his team are tenaciously working to try to execute that project in 2026. It's kind of hard to be able to start it in July and get it done by the end of the year, but best case, we get it paved next year. Worst case, it gets paved in 2027, but we will be starting that project next year. And you can kind of see the rest of the list, and these are, once again, all engineering capital projects for paving for next year. So here's another page of them. In 2025, there were 5.26 centerline miles of streets paved. So a centerline mile just means you just go straight down the middle of the road and measure the distance that way, so it doesn't account for how many lanes of traffic there are. In 2026, they're projecting on paving 8.82 centerline miles, so that's a 68% increase year over year in paving next year. So next year will be a significant amount of paving happening around town. And then here are the public works resurfacing projects. So no need to reiterate this program. We've been doing it for several years now, thanks to the support from City Council to purchase our own equipment and execute these projects. But in 2025, 6.46 lane miles were paved with this program, and in 2026, they anticipate 5.11 lane miles. So a lane mile is different than a center lane mile because it accounts for how many lanes. So like a two-way street is, a mile is 2 lane miles. But they're going to do a little bit less next year, and they're going to focus a little bit more on catching up on street cuts. So as we do utility street cuts, that team repairs those. So they're catching up on some of that work. They're going to do some base repair to support the engineering capital program, and they're going to focus a little bit more on some maintenance items such as crack sealing, et cetera. But still, 5.11 lane miles is significant. So. Moving on, we'll talk a little bit about customer value. So bringing the previous conversation to this slide. So this represents the average utility bill for a residential customer within Hamilton. So on the left, that's October of 2025. So the average monthly bill for everything, including electric, natural gas, wastewater, water, refuse, and stormwater, was $266.80. Next year, there's anticipated to be a $20.23 per month increase, which is $287.03 per month on average. You can kind of see the breakdown above there. And then the chart to the right, that is the comparable bill for a residential customer. There's a couple different ways that is looked at. So for stormwater and refuse, they take the average of several surrounding communities. For refuse they do. For water, wastewater, and storm, they utilize something called the City of Piqua Survey, which is approximately 70 communities in the Southwest Ohio area. They all submit their rates as a part of this study, and so it's compared to those other communities in Southwest Ohio. And then the gas and electric, that is the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, the PUCO Utility Rates Survey, and that's the average of 16 Ohio cities. And so it just gives kind of a comparable check of how do our average monthly bills compared to others in the surrounding communities. And as you can see, we're lower. Last project, grant funding. So once again, I just want to send a huge shout out to everybody within all departments. These are not just infrastructure efforts up here, but in 2025 alone, $9.26 million of grant funds were awarded. And once again, these grant funds represent monies that don't come out of Hamiltonians' pockets for their local taxes. And they're helping to support initiatives that either, one, we would not be able to do without the grant funds, or two, they support projects that we do, and we utilize the funds that we could have used for those, and then we continue to utilize those for other projects. But once again, those are $9.26 million in 1 year towards projects in Hamilton is significant. So I just want to shout out to everyone in the city who's put forth their efforts in identifying, applying for, and receiving these grant funds. And for 9.26 amount awarded, that doesn't represent all the ones that we applied for and were not awarded. So, all right, that's everything I got. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions for myself or Dave.
I just have to comment again. I mean, it says amount awarded up there, and that means we were awarded money because we've done well and been good stewards with other people's money. Congratulations. I mean, that's a lot. I cannot imagine that coming out of our budget. I mean, so thanks to everybody who's been involved in getting those grants. I mean, that's, use the word significant. I'm just super impressed by that. So thank you for that.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
If I could say something, I attend the OKI meetings, and I smile a lot there because I hear Hamilton coming up. And they've told me, I mean, I don't do the work, you all do the work in applying for the grants. And there are communities that don't apply for these grants. And they're quick to complain, we don't have the money to do it. But you all have really taken the initiative. I mean, over and over again, and they come over and congratulate me on the work that's being done in Hamilton, and I just sit here and watch what you all do. So thank you for everything.
Yeah, once again, I mean, just there's so many people on the Hamilton team across every single department that it takes to do that. And I think the mayor said it very well that we've shown that we're good stewards of grant funds. So what we do is we apply for the funds, we do what we say we're going to do with them, we do it in a timely manner, and we meet the intent of those grant funds. And that's really important to show that we are willing and capable of doing so, so that when we apply for funds in the future, hopefully, they keep that in mind.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Nab.
Craig, I have complimented over the year you and your team for exactly what council has recognized, what Dave and Edwin have shared with us tonight in a snapshot overview of our finances, the stewardship. Dave, you mentioned stewardship, and Edwin, I think you even used that word as well, but that all of us that are so engaged in the city, the work of the city, morning, noon, and night. As we've heard, council members receive emails and phone calls and texts morning, noon, and night about different activities that are going on within the city. And Craig, you and your team this year, past year's performance, just are nailing it. And all of us on council really appreciate the work and the energies, the efforts that go in morning, noon, and night, 7 days a week. When I talk to you and your team over the weekends and talk in the evenings and talk in the mornings, and everybody is, as I've said, is working smart, heads up, diligence, and contributing. So it just is a testimony to the work and the energies. We heard tonight all of the accolades for all of the great things that are going on in Hamilton and how hard we're working on major projects to collect all the information that we collect and then to be able to make a decisive outcome on those pieces of information. But everything you guys shared tonight is just spot on and continues to be, Dave, as you said, the awards that finance receives that speak to all of the departments within the city on everybody's contribution. So again, congratulations, everybody that's here, everybody that's watching tonight. We're doing good stuff. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Impressive presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job. Anyone else in the audience wish to be heard or make some comments at this public hearing? Anyone on council wish to be heard again or wish to make a motion at this time? Vice Mayor Pullman.
Make a motion the public hearing be closed. Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Council Member Lauer. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 8:07. I'll set the motion that the regular meeting be reconvened.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Council Member Nab, second by Council Member Ryan. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
That's adopted at 8:07. I'll set the motion, this time involving council actions pertaining to legislative items.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move that a note be made upon the minutes that each member of council was furnished a printed copy of each item of legislation prior to its being considered at this meeting.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Vice Mayor Pullman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that motion is carried at 8:08. We're now going to pending legislation. Agenda item number 11. That's a second reading of an ordinance involving Coolants Plus project.
An ordinance declaring the improvement to certain parcels of real property within the city for Coolants Plus project, for the Coolants Plus project to be public purpose and exempt from taxation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5709.40B, providing for the collection and deposit of service payments, specifying the purposes for which those service payments may be expended, authorizing the execution and delivery of a school compensation agreement with the Hamilton City School District, and authorizing school compensation payments pursuant to the school compensation agreement. Second reading.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Nab.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Nab, second by Councilmember Ryan. Discussion or comments on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Moeller.
Yes.
Pullman.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Nab.
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
Then we go to agenda item number 12. which is second reading of an ordinance dedicating a right-of-way.
An ordinance dedicating 8,095 square feet and 3,381 square feet along Pershing Avenue, City Park Lots 6757 through 6765 as right-of-way located on Pershing Avenue at the corner of Neeland Boulevard, Second Ward, City of Hamilton applicant, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Vaughn, second by Councilmember Fear. Discussion or comments on this one? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
We go to new legislation, agenda item number 13, an ordinance involving our 2026 budget.
An ordinance making appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Hamilton, Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 14, first reading of an ordinance, again involving dedicating right-of-way.
An ordinance dedicating 78,887 square feet on Ray Avenue and along North B Street, city-owned part lots 18702, 30146, 25773, city-owned lots 63338, 14847, 14848, and Butler County Port Authority-owned part lots 30141 and 30142 as right-of-way situated in the First Ward, North Side, City of Hamilton applicant, first reading.
Here we go to agenda item number 15, first reading of an ordinance involving also dedicating another right-of-way.
An ordinance dedicating 5,976.4 square feet along South B Street, city-owned part lots 4072, 4073, and 4074 as right-of-way located on South B Street at the corner of Milliken Street, situated in the First Ward, South Side, City of Hamilton applicant, first reading.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 16, two readings of emergency ordinance involving properties located at 644, 646, and 654 East.
An emergency ordinance authorizing the disposition of properties located at 644, 646, and 654 East Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 45011, and authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a sale and purchase of real estate agreement, funding agreement, and related documents for said properties, City of Hamilton property owner, Neighborhood Housing Services of Hamilton Incorporated purchaser, first of two readings.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Lauer.
I'd like to make a motion that the rules be suspended and the said ordinance be read a second time by its title.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Lauer, seconded by Vice Mayor Pullman. Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
Thank you. Second reading of that emergency ordinance, please.
An emergency ordinance authorizing the disposition of properties located at 644, 646, and 654 East Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 45011, and authorizing and directing the city manager to execute a sale and purchase of real estate agreement, funding agreement, and related documents for said properties, City of Hamilton property owner, Neighborhood Housing Services of Hamilton Incorporated purchaser, second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Lauer.
I'd like to make a motion that the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Lauer, seconded by Vice Mayor Pullman. Any discussion or comments on this? An example of doing what we said we were going to do and go back to block. So, if there's no other comments. Roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted, 7-0.
Go to agenda item number 17, resolution involving city council meeting dates for calendar year 2026.
A resolution establishing the City of Hamilton, Ohio City Council regular meeting dates for the calendar year 2026.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Vaughn.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Councilmember Vaughn, seconded by Councilmember Ryan. Roll call vote. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Moeller,
Yes?
Pullman,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 7-0.
Go to agenda item number 18, a resolution involving Butler County Auditor to advance taxes assessed.
A resolution requesting that the Butler County Auditor advance to the city treasurer of the city of Hamilton, Ohio, taxes assessed and collected for and on behalf of the city of Hamilton, Ohio, fiscal year 2025 through 2026.
Mayor,
Vice Mayor Pullman.
make a motion the resolution be adopted.
Second. Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Councilmember Nab. Discussion or comments on this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, 7-0.
Okay, we now go to audience of the city manager. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to make a few comments. I said previously, our secret to success here in Hamilton comes down to three things: having a great plan, an incredible team, and amazing collaboration. And tonight, we're just now a little over 2 hours into this meeting, but you've seen that great plan in action through the agenda here, being people-centered, neighborhood-focused, and development-driven. Time after time, agenda item after agenda item. Our incredible team, and many of you acknowledged, but I'm so proud to be part of this group of folks who work so hard day in, day out. And then an amazing collaboration to have all these folks here tonight. Everything that this community comes together and does is really, really amazing. So just grateful, thankful, and appreciative of that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Definitely. Audience of council.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ryan.
just want to thank our Public Works crews for the terrific job they did battling the snow event. Thank you guys so much. Great job.
People got to work. People got to work on time as a result of you folks. Thank you, Councilmember Vaughn.
And I'll add to that, the leaf collection. I've heard so many positive things about the leaves being picked up, and great job. Great job. Yep.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple things. I love to see how our businesses of the downtown area work together to put on a great, very special Thanksgiving week, for that matter. So, but I love how the chamber gets involved and organizes some things. I love how our businesses collaborate together to make things special for Hamiltonians, and they do it selflessly. So I appreciate them. The other thing I want to give a shout out to our firemen who battled a tough fire last night, and I appreciate everything they did. And every time they step into that truck and take the risk of injury or possible other dangers, but what they did last night, they were in tight quarters, and they prevented a fire from spreading that could have took out half a block of homes. And man, they are to be commended for that. I know we had some help from some other stations, but the importance of this time of year and keeping those things contained, I commend them and so appreciative of them. So the other thing, you have that, I'm going to put this up there. The Hamilton High Fine Arts Department has a few events. Be a great night for you and Larry to head out. But they have some great events, and if you haven't seen our Fine Arts Department, they do some amazing things, and they work in a lot of our events that make our events even more special because it's downtown. So there are some events that you can check out and attend.
Thank you, and you made us all aware of that, contacting me. I mean, like I said, please see our students in action in their various skills. You know, other cities just don't have what we have, and when it comes to volunteers, public works, public safety, city professionals, I think I'm relatively well-read, and I just don't read about this type of thing in other cities. So, anybody else have anything you want to say?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Councilmember Fear.
I'd like to wish Steve Colwell a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Oh, man.
Saw that today.
Well, and thank you, Steve. You're making sure that other people not in this room see what the heck's going on. You and Mike Pittman and I guess Eric's going to probably be next. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Please, Vice Mayor Pullman.
this Saturday, the 2025 Boys and Girls Club of Hamilton Holiday Bowl-a-thon is Saturday, this Saturday, December 6th. And I guess, Laura, you have a team again, right?
Don't worry about it, we'll be there.
Tommy, what was the bet last year? Was it, I think we had to donate, the loser had to donate $10 a piece, I think is what it was back then. $10.
Wait a minute. Who did we roll against? Was it Lauer's team when we rolled against?
It was we had a 3-man team, you guys had a 4-man team.
Yeah, we got beat, but we weren't very good, but we got to
More
beat
pins, right? That's what happened with 4 plays 3.
I've got right now, it's going to be, well, you've got a couple coming, so the wager's still on again, right?
Yes.
All right, and we have right now on our team, we have Mayor, Susan, she's a pro bowler. My son Evan from Special Olympics, which is when he's on, he's on, but he wasn't on
Yes,
last
he
year.
is. He was off last
Yeah,
night.
he was off, yes.
Thank God.
And he bowls a lot better than his dad does, myself, and I don't know, Craig, you ready? You want to do this? You know, the cost is you got to bring an unwrapped toy.
I was there last year. I was on one of the non-betting teams, but I'll be back this year. I'm in.
He's going to be in, so that's our team. And I got one more I'm kind of hoping to put in. Might have 6. You're allowed up to 6. So
If we have 6 and they have 4,
we'll figure it out.
they're going to complain.
They will anyway. I think they
Bring
cheated
'em on.
last year. I think it was, and it would be.
I've got Joshua right now.
Oh, so it's going to be current city
As long as he's
manager
not sick
against
this
ex-city manager. I think that would be a good battle. Craig, I think you can do it.
Thank you.
So, but everybody, it's a great event. You do a great job on it. I think you're there from, you do one group at 12 to 3, and then it's at Pullman Lanes. I do not own that, so it's, and I think you do the next group at what, 4 to 7. And you do a pretty good job, and you're expecting a lot bigger crowd this year. This Boys and Girls Club by Mr. Tommy Jump does one heck of a job, so come out and support him. If not, just come out and watch us bowl. It's kind of hilarious. Wait till you see Mayor's style. He's got a great style.
Just like Fred Flintstone, my friend.
Yeah, it's kind of close.
You know, if you don't want to bowl, you can still come out and watch other people bowl, have fun, and bring a gift, bring a toy, right?
And root the Mayor's team on. I think it's going to be a much better bet for you. So, thanks, Mr. Lauer. Again, it's going to be fun.
It will be fun.
Thank you.
Other comments? Is there a request for executive session, Mr. City Manager?
There is, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry. To consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Okay. Is there a motion that council go in executive session for that stated purpose given by the city manager?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Pullman, second by Council Member Fear. Roll call vote on that, please.
Moeller,
Yes.
Pullman,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Fear,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Nab,
Yes.
Lauer.
Yes.
Motion adopted, 7-0.
We go into executive session at 8:23. We'll come out of executive session only to adjourn the regular meeting. Thank you all for being here.